Welcome to ReversingHero level 1. Let's begin. This is the file we've got, ReversingHero. Checking the size, it looks like it's about a little bit more than half megabyte. Let's see what's inside. I'm opening a hex editor and I will take a look. So it seems like it's an ELF file. I know it because of the ELF letters in the beginning. I can see various names of functions. It's probably an executable file. I still can't run it because I don't have any execution permissions for this file, as can be seen here. So let's use chmod and give it running permissions. Now it's green because I can run it. Let's run the file. So, kind of strange output. I got those signs here and I have one P1 and one X1. Running ls again, I can see that I have a new directory here called 1, which is probably a good sign. Let's take a look. It seems like I have two new files, P1 and X1. Taking a look at the sizes, P1 is pretty large, almost like the original ReversingHero file, and X1 is a pretty small file, more or less 6 kilobytes. Taking a look at the internal structure, I can see that P1 is an ELF file and also X1 is an ELF file. Let's turn them into executable files and try to run them. I begin with X1 because it is the smaller file, so I think it might be easier for me to read it or to try to understand what it does. So I have this question mark prompt and it seems like it waits for my input. Try something else. No luck here. Maybe if I type lots of numbers. No. Okay, let's take P1. It's pretty similar, but there are some differences. We can see that the X file has this question mark and exclamation mark, but P1 has different symbols. Let's begin with X1 because it's the smaller one of the two. It seems like we have no other choice but to try to reverse it. I'm opening a new terminal and let's open IDA, X1 in IDA. Seems like it is recognized as a usual ELF file, 64 bits. Let's go. Okay, so the first thing that at least I can see here is this strange thing, very strange string. It looks like it should be symmetric along this character, but the left side has only 2 slashes and the right side has 4 backslashes, which is kind of strange. It could be some kind of escaping, so if I click here I can see this string, which is the actual string. A reasonable guess would be that this is the password. I will just try it out. Nice, it seems like it worked. Another way to do this would be to use the strings util over the file X1. I can see various strings and this is one of the strings that looks very interesting. So trying it is probably a good choice. Okay, let's take a look. So we've got this key. Let's try to use it with P1. Nice. It seems like this file also extracted into other files, and we have a new directory here called 2. Let's copy it to the side because I don't want the situation to get too recursive. So I move it outside, and I have now this structure of directories. It seems like 2 also has P2 and X2. But before we move on, I just want to take a look at the structure of X1 because it will probably be useful for the future. Let's go back to IDA. Basically, it seems like this block is comparing 2 strings. This S string, which is a global string, and this string. Most likely this is our input string. We can call it G input star. I prefix it with G because it is indeed global. If I double click, I can see that it is inside the BSS section. Let's take a look around, just to be sure we are prepared for the next levels. It seems like this side is failure. Why? Because it has this exclamation mark and minus. This one is plus, so this side is a success. It seems like there is an additional function here, which is probably the function that does the key printing. How can I know it? Because I know that this printf prints exclamation mark and then plus, which is what we have seen here, right? And this part is probably printed here. We can call it fPrintKey. It seems like it does get the input string as input, so probably the key printed is derived from the string, in case we actually win and we get to this block. There are some other things here at the beginning that are probably worth mentioning. Let's try to follow it at least just once, just to be sure that we understand everything. We have this fd open, which seems to open stdin. I know it because 0 means stdin. So this could be written like this. stdin with the R mode, which is the read mode. Okay, the result is stored at CS string, which could be possibly denoted like this. fd open and the result is put into string. Next we have this G input string, which is given as the first argument to a function. The second argument is 1b, which is 27. Interesting. If we click here, we can see that the size of input string is exactly 27, which is a good sign because I'm always looking for things that match. So we have this 1b and it matches this 1b. And we have the string, which is the object we use to read bytes from stdin. A good guess would be that this function reads a string. If we take a look inside, we can actually see that it uses fgets, which is a function that reads a string from the outside, from stdin, and this function star cspan, which is probably used to eliminate the new line. These details are not very important, but they are important in the sense that you probably don't need to read them again in the next levels. Nice, so this was level 1.